Hi, welcome to React Stuff. Today we will learn basic usage of useState in ReactJS. We will learn how to use useState with number, string, Boolean, array, and even JSON object. Let's start with number state. In this case, we will create state for a counter number. Here to define a state with useState in React Hook component. useState will returns an array with two items. First item is the state value and the second one is a method to update the state value. First argument of useState is the default value, so in this case the counter has initial value 0. Don't forget to import useState from React. Let's get back to our topic. We will try to display a counter on the page and also display a button to increment the counter by 1 each time it is clicked. We will create a method to do this. For example, we will create increment counter. And what this method to do is to add counter value by 1 each time the increment counter button clicked. Let's try click the button. As you see, the counter value increment by 1 every time I clicked the button. But, in some cases this wouldn't work as expected, especially if our method is an expensive method. For example, before setCounter get called, we need to pass some information by API call to determine whether the counter eligible to increment or not. Let's do an experiment. We will add 1 second delay with set timeout before setCounter get called. And if I click the button as many times as quickly as possible, the counter only increases by a few values. Let's prove it. We will call console log at the point where the counter value should increase. As you can see, I clicked the button 6 times, but the counter value only increased by 1. Let's do it again. At this point the counter should be 12, but we only get 2. It is because when increment counter method get called, counter value still have the same value. So if current value of counter state is 0, then we click the button 4 times. It means all of the transaction would be happen is 0 plus 1. To solve this issue, instead of refer to counter directly, we will call setCounter by pass a function. The first argument is the most recent value of the state, so it is real up-to-date value. And the function need to return the expected value, otherwise the state value would be undefined. Let's try. As you see, when I click the button 6 times the counter value also updated to 6. I will click the button again by 8 times, and then the counter has value 14. Next, use state of string. Define the string state with useState hook with default value is empty string. In this case, we will play with text box to update the state. Because it is most frequently case in real web app, especially in ReactJS app. We will display the state of name to the page. Define a function to be called when we typing on the text box with onChangeListener. Just the same as native JavaScript language, onClick will came with represents DOM interfaces event, so we can access the value of text box with event.target.value. Now, if I typing on the text box, it will updates the name with whatever I type on the text box. Next, Boolean state. We will control visibility of an element based on a Boolean state. In this example, the greeting message. Define a Boolean state with useState. Put the logic to controls the greeting message only displayed when show greeting message value is true. Add a button to toggle the show greeting message state. And define a method handler to do this. To be more safe, we can pass a function instead of the new value because in this case we rely on previous value, so we have to ensure the previous value is correct or up to date. Next tutorial, state of array. As you can see, I've prepared an array containing the names of classmates. The idea is, we will create an array state of basketball team members and make it can pick any names from classmates. And of course can remove selected names as well. In other words, we will learn how to add and remove an item from array state in ReactJS. Define a new state of array, let's say, team members. And then create a method to add a name to the team member state. What it does is, we create a new instance of the array and put all current members value with spread syntax and add a new item at the end of the array, and then return it as a new state value of team members. Create add button and put add to team method as the on-click handler. Let's try to click the buttons. As you can see, when I click the button beside of classmate's name, it will be added to the team member state. Let's render the team member state on the page. But we still have problem here. When the name is already picked up as team members, the name shouldn't exist anymore under the classmates list, otherwise, the team member state can have duplicate names. To solve this issue, we need to put logic to control that the names under the classmates list can only display when it doesn't exist inside the team members array. Let's refresh the page to reset the state. Now when I click add button beside a classmate's name under the classmates list, then it would be moved to the basket team list. And now we will create a method to handle the remove buttons. Clone current team member state into a new instance of array. Remove one member from members starting from the index of the name of the target. Then return it as a new team member state. So, when I click the remove buttons under the basket team list, then the selected name will be returned to the classmates list. For bonus tips, because in this tutorial I'm using Bootstrap, we can make the list more eye-catching by adding some classes to the buttons and the list item. In the last tutorial, learn useState with an object. To short the time, I have prepared a form that contains 3 fields, which are text input, number input, and a drop-down. Let's define an object state and put the default value of all fields as empty. And add value attribute to all fields that refer to the form state. What would happen when I try to make changes inside the form? It will do nothing because the form state never changed. Let's try to create a method to update the name field. Put the method to the name field as onChange attribute. Now when I type on the name field, then the value would be updated. Let's do the same thing for the other fields. Now, we are going to create a method to be called when the form is submitted. Call event.preventDefault to prevent the browser from going refreshed when the form is submitted. And we will try to show an alert that shows the current form state value. In a real app, this action commonly will send the form data by an asynchronous HTTP request. Put the method as onSubmit attribute to the form tag. Now if I submit the form, then the alert pops with the recent value of the form object state. Great! Now we have finished all useState tutorials with many data types. Hopefully, this video will help you to better understand the useState in ReactJS. I'm Susan, a front-end developer. Thanks for watching this video. Please like the video or subscribe to my channel to support me to make more tutorials about ReactJS. Leave a comment with any questions or requests for the next tutorial video release. See you in the next video.